Welcome back. Now we drive. Thank you so much again for joining us here on the channel. Got a really great show. Well, I think it's a great show for you today. And so many requests. People are new to the channel and maybe new to buying cars on auction, on Copart especially. And they keep asking me, what should I look out for? So what we're going to look at today is every step in the process. Not only why are you buying the car in the first place? Have you got a specific car you want to look at? Are you looking at a range of different cars? Where are you going to buy it from? All of these things we're going to cover in today's video. I hope you're going to get something out of it today. I know I will. It's going to be fun anyway. So first off, let's have a look. I think it's very important to understand what car you want to look at. I look for cars that I have either got some experience on. So for me personally, Mini F56s, got a bit of experience on. I do understand them a little bit more now, given that I've spent quite a lot of time with my sleeves rolled up, especially with the John Cooper Works, and to a lesser degree, the orange flood damage Mini. You may want to choose a car that you've got some experience on. Maybe you've just owned one before. Maybe you're on a forum with for Hondas and you know where to go to when you want to do up a Honda or any other make. And there are so many good forums out there now that are very helpful in coming back with information about certain models of cars. And you'll find that, I know I found, the more high performance version of the car you get, the John Cooper Works per se, then you will get a lot more specialist information coming back from the F56 forums, which I use quite a bit, and they're really good guys on there. Another thing you need to look at as well before it is access to cheap parts. You want to keep your budget as low as possible, right? I know I do. And going onto eBay, even before you've looked at, even starting to bid, go onto eBay and have a look at see what type of car you're looking at. Is it breaking? Are there breaking versions of it that you want to look at? If that's the case, then you'll have a plethora of parts to go at, and that won't leave you high and dry when it comes to trying to find maybe a very specific part that might take your budget way over the top if you have to go to a dealer. And the more specific or specialist the car, as per the John Cooper Works, the parts are harder to come by, because some parts are very much general across the F56 range, but some are not. And that did lead me to end up at a BMW Mini garage paying pretty high prices for my Mini John Cooper Works, which was great. I didn't mind that, because as I said to you before, I don't do it for money, but if I could have found a second-hand version that would equally have done the job, I would have done, I can assure you. So probably the most important part of your job in buying a car at Copart or any other online auction site, do your homework. There is a huge amount of data and information out there waiting to be found by you, the buyer. And it's not as though, in the most part, Copart are not trying to hide this from you. They're just trying to sell cars. And the more money they make for the car, the more commission they make. Standard business stuff, right? You'd understand that. But there are pitfalls, because some people put cars into Copart that are definitely not ones we want to be buying, and we need to avoid those. And I definitely go into, with my mindset, I go into the auction with a very simple phrase in my mind: trying to find a reason not to buy something. Now, I know that sounds kind of strange, because I'm a car lover, probably like you guys because you're watching this video, but you have to go in with the mindset that you're going to be ripped off, and this car is an absolute dog. The engine's a bag of spanners, it's falling apart, it was put in because it was, it's a road trader or something. Go in with that mindset of thinking that there's something wrong with the car, and you'll at least be armed with the fact that you are going to do your best possible job in finding out about the car you're going to leave on your watch list and hopefully bid on and subsequently buy, possibly. So let's dive straight in and let's have a look at some of the resources I use online. Let's have a dive in and let's have a look at trying to find a reason not to buy two cars that I've highlighted. And two very different cars, but both I think will be very good for the channel. One is one that we're very aware of, is a John Cooper Works, and exactly the same spec as my last one, automatic, silver white, but slightly different. Now there's no bodywork damage, as you can see. It's a 17 plate, so it's a couple of years younger. So let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look at see what we think about this John Cooper Works. It doesn't say anything about any areas of issue except dashboard warning light illuminated. So if we go into here, we've got a bit of a triangle here, and we've got the engine management light, but we don't know what that is. And as you can see here, doesn't say anything about run and drive or even engine start program. And this is the reason why I'm looking at this car to think, oh, hello, water flood damage, very interesting. Okay, so let's go through all of the steps that I do when looking at a car. So we'll quickly copy the VIN number. So what we're looking for here is a very simple fact of, has it gone through before, someone's got it back, can't start it up, and then got it back into the auction? Well, that would be a no. That would be a no, because there would be a match here for it, but there's not. There is no matches. And you can see there's a number of, we've had a look on auto auctions. It's not on there, which is great. Now, what we can do quickly while I've got it up is we'll put the registration number into Auto Trader, sell my car, Auto Trader, random mileage. So is it correct? Yes, it is. Next steps should tell you how many owners and what category. So it's an N. And 2 owners from new. Yep. And then it gives you a range. I'm not going to go into it now, but it should give you a range of extras that I'm not sure if it comes direct from Mini BMW, but at least give you an idea of what's on the car. And knowing the John Cooper Works like I do, it seems pretty much spot on. So let's go back to the car. So why am I not going to bid on this car? Well, one, I think it's far too much, a little bit too much money at 7,100, and we're going to watch the auction, watch it go through. Why am I not bidding on this car? Well, let me tell you why. One, I think it's too much money. Even if it went for 7,100 now, I wouldn't buy it, and I'll tell you why I wouldn't buy it. I'm not sure, and I'll go through the pictures of this car. I'm not sure if the engine's any good whatsoever. Now, there is a piece of tape on the bonnet with a yellow line on it. Now, I can only think that this is where the water line got to in the car. And let me tell you, some other information is here. Now, if we have a look at the intake manifold, and if you know, there's a kind of a black air intake piece that feeds into where the air filter is actually sitting. Someone's taken that off to have a look, and you'll probably find if the car's gone in at an angle like this and the water line's there, then water's got into the air filter. And if it's got that high in the engine, if it's got into any other part of the engine, if it went in when it was running, the engine's done. And 7,100 for a chance that engine's okay is a lot to take, because a Cat N is going to go for what, 12, maybe 11 of that ilk, that kind of money. Yeah, I can't see it going any more than that. I really can't. So if you're lucky and you get it for 7,100 and the engine is okay, and it starts and there's no knocking noise and stuff like I had with the orange one. I took a chance, but remember that was a much later car. So if you're lucky enough to get the car out without any issues, then it might be worth a punt on this one. But I think there are better options out there than this particular one. But you never know. You never know. It is very clean, no doubt about it, but it does need. It would be nice to go and have a look at it, which is obviously impossible in the current situation with lockdown. So let's quickly just go back and we'll keep an eye on it. It's up next anyway, so let's turn the volume up. Oh dear. And music, let's turn it off. And we'll turn the thing up, so let's have a look, see what it goes through for. Now, if this was, let's say, 5,500, maybe 5,800 quid, I can go and buy a John Cooper Works engine for about 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, roughly. Get it fitted. I would probably take it to a garage to get it fitted because I haven't got all of the necessary tools. But let's quickly look at this one now as it goes through. Maybe someone's bid this up already. Oh no, there's one bid on it.
Pure sale.
Not much action on the
bonus time.
7,200. I thought it was far too much money, honestly.
Pure sale. Pure sale. Low mileage.
7,300. Yeah. Right. So there you go. 7,300 quid. If it had been 5.5, might have had a look at it. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a flavour of the steps that I go through when looking at another car. Now, there is another car coming up, which I'm going to have a look at. So let's have a look at this. A 65 plate Volkswagen Golf GTI. Now, mileage is quite high, but not outrageous. And the bidding is reasonable currently. So it's definitely worth having a look at. First things first, no additional information, which, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there is no additional information that's there. And we'll have a look initially at the damage, and we go on to HD. You'll see that this has taken quite a nasty little knock down this passenger side, where it looks like that wheel was kind of slightly turned in, and that wheel is also damaged in some way. Maybe it's hard to tell when you've got the wing so badly damaged like that with the door as well. It's very difficult to tell. But look, a few things we know. May get away with not changing the bumper, but definitely need a new wing. Bonnet looks fine. Door will need a new door, and that quarter panel does look. You might see, the nice thing about the Golfs being the 3-door ones, you can actually take away all of the side and you actually get right behind it. I remember we did it for my son's Polo. You actually got in there and give it a right good old push, and it does get, obviously not perfect, but you get it out enough where you can panel beat it, fill it, and get it back to close to factory shape. So that you might get away with that in that quarter panel. It's not terrible. So you've got, which is interesting, I can't even see if you don't look like the steering wheel nor the dash has gone, but the passenger seat and also the passenger side curtain are both deployed airbag wise. So it will need those, and it also need seat belts as well. That usually gets kicked off. Now, difficult to tell looking at the instrument cluster, because it looks like it started up and every light on the dash is on, which is interesting. So hard to tell if all of these are issues or none of them are issues. Where, you know, when you just start it up and they've taken a picture, I don't know whether or not that is the case. So we'll see. I really don't know. But it starts, and Usually, Copart are not that bad where if the engine would have been making some nasty noises or some rattling or smoke, they would have told you, but they haven't in this case, and that's why there's no additional info, which is good. So we'll have a quick look on autoauctions.io, see what's going on there. We've got no match for this. The one thing that really is slightly troubling me is when you usually put in a specific VIN number, it gives you the exact range of car. So if you put in a GTI's VIN number, it gives you GTIs that have been sold at auction, but it didn't in this case. There's, as you can see, there's a Golf Match and a Golf GT and a Golf GTE and so on and so forth, which bit annoying. And there's also some pending ones as well. Now, if you do want to go into a bit deeper, you get rid of this search here, and then you just basically go into a deeper dive looking at all Golf GTIs. We have got 12 minutes, okay. So let's get the registration number. Put that into Auto Trader, see what he says. So there's a Golf GTI 3-door, so that all matches up. One owner. That's good to know. It's been a one owner from new. So you would imagine, like buying any second-hand car, it's going to be in pretty decent nick. So that's great. That's really, really good. I like that. One thing I'm going to quickly look at is we're going to go 2015 Golf GTI. If I could spell correctly. So let's have a look in eBay. Golf GTIs. Best match. So these are slightly lower mileages than ours. So the retail price roughly is about 15k for a 2015 of this age. So as a Cat S, a third of price off, so 10k. How much to repair this? So broken. The wing's going to be what, 150. The door's going to be like 200. Difficult to ascertain exactly what suspension damage there is here. So what we've got, so we got 3.5, the seat airbag's 150 and the curtain's about 100. I did check the other day. So 3.5, 5, 600 in parts. Maybe a little bit of paint if we can't get the right colour. What is it in black? You should be okay actually, but getting in black. So you're going to be in for, let's say £1,000 in bits and pieces. How much you're going to have to buy this for to be beneficial to you if you're going to make a bit of a profit on this? 6 grand? Maybe a little less? I'd say 5k. I think 5 grand is about the right number for this Golf GTI. Say if you run into some problems and there's some bits there which you always do when buying a car from Copart. You have to buy some extra parts. You need to allow yourself to get up to 2 grand, 2.5 grand. You're in for with delivery and Copart charges. Say you're in for I don't know, 6 grand plus 2. That's 8 grand you're in for. You're giving yourself a little bit of leeway. You might be able to nick £1,500 out of this car. Maybe. If you're lucky, maybe a bit more if you get away with it without adding too much more in. But as I say, being a one owner car, it's pretty nice. I like it a lot actually. So we've got 9 minutes. I'll pause it right there, and we will wait for this to come up. So there's one area we could not leave out, and I've overlooked it quickly when we was looking at the Golf, was the DVLA website. So a great source of information. Let me show you. This is on two fronts. So I'll put the registration number in. Tells you a couple of things. Now, if you remember, when we first looked at the information, it said one owner, if you remember, but the last time the logbook was changed was on the 15th of January, which is interesting, isn't it? So how can it be one owner? I don't know. It's a good one. And secondly, when was it last taxed? Well, it was MOT'd in September, so you got a nice long MOT, and it was taxed back in February, so that ran out quite some time ago. So you would imagine this has been sitting around for a good couple of months. Also, something I definitely like to look into is the history of the MOT. Again, just put the reg number in and you get a nice breakdown of the mileage it's been doing. So what I'm looking for here is a massive step up in mileage, or an anomaly where the car has done, I think it was 79,000. If it was 79,000 on here or high, close to it, why has it been off the road for so long or doing so little mileage? So that's something I like to look at. But this seems to be consistent. So from year to year, it's done like 15,000 and then another 15,000 up to this year, or maybe a little less. But you can see it's been driven regularly. So you have your list of information. You've got all of that. Great, fantastic. Please, please, please take your time when it comes to bidding. And one thing I will say to you is make sure you set yourself a top price you're going to pay for the car. And please factor in all of the additional costs you're going to get hit with, which is the substantial Copart fees and also the delivery cost of the car. At the moment, obviously Copart are going to deliver it. Sometime in the future, be a third party or even yourself to go and pick this up. But please factor those in. And factor that in also where you're bidding. For me, my nearest Copart is in Sandy. It's 45, 50 minutes away. For you, it might be somewhere different. Now, for me, bidding on a car up in Sandtoft or up north somewhere, York, I have to factor in that the delivery costs are going to be somewhat more substantial, purely based on the mileage. So please factor that in when it comes to bidding on your car. So when bidding, don't get dragged into a war and try and leave it as late as possible. Now, it might save you a couple of bids of 50 or 100 quid, but you don't want to be, too keen when getting involved, just in case. Say you're the owner of the car and you're bidding this up, because it can happen. I've heard of stories of people that are putting cars into auctions and bidding it up. This is doable, right? Especially if there's a reserve price and they actually win it, because they can just put it back in. So take your time. Don't seem so eager and keen, and leave it as late as you possibly can.
New bidder.
So let's bide our time. Let's see what.
Bonus time. Bonus time. Sold on approval.
Yeah. Now let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I didn't bid on this. Let me just turn that down. Let me tell you why I didn't bid on this. Something I noticed prior to turning the recording on. Now, and it just threw me off a little bit, thinking to myself, why would that be like that, and what work would it need to do to... Right, so if we have a look, so we saw that this side was in okay shape, no problems at all, obviously dirty, but we get over to here just noticed that this bit of trim was sticking out. And what is that? Is that part of the bumper? Or is this rear panel that badly pushed out of shape? Yeah. So we'll go back again and have a look. It's this one, you see this here? So is that the quarter panel or is that the rear bumper? So I think it's this panel here that's just popped out. And if that is the case, how much work is it going to be to get this quarter panel into shape? Now you might have to change the whole rear quarter panel if that is the case, which it's not a difficult job to do, but it would add on probably 500 to 600 quid's worth of extra work. And that's why I kind of brought down my number to around 4.5 if I was going to do this, which I didn't, as you saw. As I said, I'm always looking to try and find a reason not to buy the car, because there are, look, just have a quick look, right? So we go Golf GTI on Copart, and there are lots and lots and lots. So never usually an issue trying to find another Golf GTI here on Copart. So if you miss one, move on, find another one. There'll always be plenty of fish in the sea, especially at the moment. So yeah, definitely worth being patient rather than bullish at the moment. Yep. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know I enjoyed making it. It was. It's always good to go over these things, because even when I'm bidding, I get drawn into stuff. It's, I really like the look of that car, and then go piling in, pay too much money, and end up basically having no value in the car whatsoever. And hopefully it's helped you out. But please, feel free to message me if you have any. If you don't use autoauctions.io and you need some help. I know I've had a couple of people email me, which is nowwedrive@gmail.com. And I'm more than happy to help out and look at cars for you. Like I said, I really do hope you get into this, because it's great fun. If you're a car guy like I am, I absolutely love it. And I wish I could buy 50 cars a week, but unfortunately, I just haven't got the capacity to do so. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us here again on Now We Drive. I really hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe. I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. And yeah, happy bidding.